You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
Well, guys, it is time for me to give my opinion on Caitlin Clark, who is the face of the WNBA. But we know that these woke lesbian players in the WNBA, they hate her guts. Because these women in the WNBA, guys, they just want to be professional victims. Nothing more. Ever since Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA, they made it known they don't like her. They abuse her on the court. They say all kind of bad things about it. They hate her because she's really just straight and white. The WNBA is a Marxist league, folks. A cultural Marxist league with a bunch of lesbians that just scream victimhood all the time. And now that Sophie Cunningham, guys, has come out and said that men shouldn't be in women's sports, the WNBA lost their mind. You actually had a co-owner of the Seattle Storm actually went after and cursed out teenage girls for actually supporting Sophie Cunningham and what she said. The WNBA suspended that owner, I believe, for like 5 games. 5 games. And Caitlin Clark has remained silent on this. Now, Rhodes has talked about this. Caitlin Clark wants to be, I guess you could say, neutral on this thing. But here's the thing, man. These transgenders, they're coming for your jobs. And the WNBA has let it be known. We want them in our league. They're not holding back. The evidence is there, folks. If the biggest star in the WNBA doesn't say something about this league is cooked. There will be officially transgenders getting into the WNBA. It's going to happen. I've already predicted, guys, it's going to happen. Because I actually talked about this one coach. I believe it was actually the Minnesota Lynx, Cheryl Reeves, who pretty much opened the door to transgenders coming into the WNBA. Caitlin Clark, guys, actually was asked about protecting women in sports from men, the trans invasion. She didn't want to talk about it. Folks, Caitlin Clark is chicken shit. She is terrified of these woke lesbians in the WNBA. She is terrified. But guess what? These WNBA players, they won't ever like you. They won't ever like you. I mean, you can't even stand up for women? Really? Why is the guys that we on this channel, man, have been covering the trans invasion of women's sports the longest time? We've been covering it. We want women's sports to be for women. But why is it, guys, that these people in the WNBA, they don't want that? They want the male invasion, folks. And we got proof. Let's get into it, guys. Here we go. Right over here, Breitbart. Caitlin Clark declines to bat Sophie Cunningham on protecting women's sports from trans athletes. Shout out to Sophie Cunningham. She is the only one I can think of in the WNBA that actually wants to stand up for women in their sports. This trans invasion, man, is already infiltrated other sports. We saw what happened, man, in the Olympics. I've talked about Fallon Fox. Fallon Fox, a man, cracked the skull of a female in boxing. Peyton McNabb, severely injured in volleyball. Her career was ended by a transgender. But Caitlin Clark has nothing to say about this. Watch this here. Caitlin Clark dodges question on protecting women's sports. It's for the leagues and governing bodies to work with their athletes to find solutions. Newsflash. The only solution is no men and women's sports. This is not hard stuff, folks. This is not difficult stuff. Listen in.
I think for us, it's not really a discussion we really have in our locker room. I think it's for leagues and the governing bodies to work with their athletes to find solutions, but our focus is on basketball, and that's what we talk about and how we can get wins, and obviously we didn't do that tonight, so we need to find an area to improve in that way.
Do you have any, reaction to the...
I just answered for you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll go over to the Zoom. We'll start with Chloe.
Wow, nothing to say. Absolutely nothing to say. Caitlin, you're never going to make friends in the WNBA. They hate your guts, and it's on full display. Check this out. WNBA coach wears pro-trans shirt during game after Sophie Cunningham remarks. And that coach was actually Cheryl Reeves, the coach of the Minnesota Lynx. And I'm pretty sure you know that Caitlin Clark is probably a lefty. She probably is. But guess who's also a lefty but has been vocal about the trans invasion of women's sports? 18-time Grand Slam champion on the women's tour in tennis, Martina Navratilova. She's a huge lefty, guys. She's a lesbian, too. Just like these women in WNBA. But she is definitely against men invading women's sports. And I believe that Martina, man, eventually she's going to wake up one day and realize, man, that the Alphabet Mafia hates her guts for her stance on that. Now, also, we have Natalie Nakasi. She is the head coach of the Golden State Valkyries. I've never heard of this team, folks. This is actually a team in the WNBA. Never heard of them. That's probably the reason why. This league is garbage. Garbage. And now she's actually talking about her cultural Marxism, folks. She's talking about, I'm a third generation Japanese American. I've been criticized for my height and my ethnicity. Bullshit. Bullshit. That justifies men invading women's sports? Nah. Listen into this garbage.
I know you don't have the fever again in the regular season, but coming out of the break, one of the big news stories has been Sophie Cunningham and the protests for her and protests against her. And, they had a national televised game today and Cheryl, wore a shirt, and it's just a conversation. I'm wondering what do you think about it? Do you think that's good for the league? Does it detract from the basketball? Is it just noise? I'm just wondering what your opinion is.
I think, thank you for that question. I think just in terms of how I'm seeing it is, if I could answer with, for me, sports is about belonging. It's about inclusivity. It's about allowing everyone to be their authentic self. I'm big on that just because I have been criticized for my height, for my ethnicity. I've been in those "you shouldn't belong here" many times. And for me, I don't want that space, especially Golden State, to ever feel like that. So I'm all about women, little girls deserving to play, and that includes trans women. So I'm all about inclusivity.
Newsflash. Sports is not about inclusivity, folks. And we know that. A prime example is the Combine. NFL season's about to start, guys. The Combine, right before the draft, what do they do at the Combine? They take your measurements. They check your height. All this other stuff. We already know, guys, that if you don't have the right height, especially like an NBA too at that, it's very, very hard, folks, for a player, let's say in the NBA, that's 5'3" to make it to the NBA. Of course, there's been some good players, that's been like 5'6", whatever, Muggsy Bogues. But we know they do discriminate. And it's not based on ethnicity. It's not based on sexuality. It's based on skill and your measurements. It's the same thing when it comes to the combine. Why do you think they're actually measuring you? They're checking your wingspan, all of that other stuff. It's not about inclusivity. It's not. And it's definitely not about race. It's not. You're a WNBA coach. You made it to the quote unquote big time. And I'm pretty sure nobody's actually ever heard of this woman. But yet she has to bring in a cultural Marxist agenda. I've been criticized for my height. Being Japanese American. Nobody cares about that stuff. How does that actually justify a man infiltrating female sports? You see, Caitlin Clark? These women around WNBA, they're opening up the door for a man to take your job. And you know what? You want it to happen? So be it. Because you sat on the sideline, didn't say anything, while women have actually been hurt. Go right ahead. Continue to be a chicken shit. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and white sports fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.